The Man Who Matched Our Mountains. An article by Ed Mac Miller for the Denver Post on December 3rd, 1961. Out of the sun, packed in a diamond and flying as one, the Minutemen dove at nearly the speed of sound toward a tiny emerald patch on Ohio's unwrinkled quilt below. It was a little after 9 a.m. and the Air Force National Base Jet Precision Team was diving at the infamous Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, just outside Dayton, Ohio. On the ground below, several thousand faces looked upward as Colonel Ward Williams gauged the high-speed pull-up. For the multitude of civilians who watched, the Cordial-like perfection of the Red Saber acro team was a thing of awe and wonder. For the Minutemen pilots, Major Win Cooper, Colonel Walt Williams, Captain Bob Cherry, and Captain John Ferrier, it was almost routine. They had given their show hundreds of times before several million people, from Florida to Hawaii, showing the United States just how proficient a reserve unit can be, telling with speed and thrills and swift smoke strokes across the sky the Air National Guard story. For the Minutemen, this was just another show, but they were glad the crowd was good, the skies were clear, and the air was morning smooth. Judging the pull-up, Colonel Williams spoke into the microphone and pressed the button on top of his throttle. Smoke on, now. Then, the diamond of planes was pulling straight up into the turquoise sky, a bushy tail of white smoke looming out behind the formation. This was the Minutemen's famed flower burst maneuver. For a minute, the crowd relaxed, gazing at the tranquil beauty of the huge white flower that had grown from the verdant Ohio grasslands to fill the great bowl of sky. Out on the end of his arm of the flower, Colonel Williams turned his saber hard, cut off the smoke trail, and dropped the nose of his F-86 to pick up speed for the low-altitude crossover maneuver. Then, glancing back over his shoulder, he froze. Far across the sky to the east, John Ferrier's plane was rolling. He was in trouble. And his plane was headed right for the small town of Fairborn, just on the edge of Patterson Field. In just that moment, a morning of loveliness turned into one of horror. Everyone saw, everyone understood. One of the planes was out of control. Racing his saber in the direction of the crippled plane, Colonel Williams raised his voice over the mic. "Bail out, Johnny! Bail out!" There was still plenty of time, still plenty of room. Twice more, Williams issued the command, but each time he was answered only by a blip of smoke. He grasped the sensitive immediately. John Ferrier couldn't reach for the mic, but because he had both hands tugging on a throttle that was locked full throw right. But he answered the only way he could, squeezing it to tell Walt he thought he could pull out, that he couldn't let his plane go into the houses of Fairborn. Captain John Ferrier's plane hit the ground equidistant from 4 houses. There was no other place but that one backyard garden where he could have hit without killing innocent people. There was a tremendous explosion, which knocked a woman and several children to the ground, but no one was hurt, with the exception of Captain John T. Ferrier. He was killed instantly. A steady stream of people came to tall and handsome Win Cooper, who stood, still in his flying suit, beside the smoking, gaping hole where his best friend had died. And humbled, they all said the same thing. This man died to save us. Farrier's teammates figured he used the plane's rudders to steer the crippled plane away from the people and houses of Fairborn. It was a bold and courageous last act, but it was not an act alien to the nature of John T. Ferrier, who had been awarded one of the nation's most outstanding medals of courage and bravery for risking his life beyond the call of duty in Korea to fly cover to save a downed Marine pilot. At Ferrier's funeral, an Air Guard officer commented, "An American poet, Sam Foss, once wrote, 'Bring me men to match my mountains.' Well, John Ferrier was one of those men." Shortly after the crash, Ferrier's wife wrote Coach Bill Lance of Kanakuk Camps, where Johnny had attended as a camper for many summers, in the following letter. "Coach, I went through his billfold last night and found the old worn card which he always carried, titled, 'I'm Third.' He told me once he got it from you. You had emphasized it at your camp sermons. He sure followed that creed to the T, and certainly to the very end. He truly believed God is first the other fellow second, and I'm third. Not just the day he died, but long before that. Certainly as long as I've known him. I'm going to carry that same card with me from now on to serve as a reminder. Captain Johnny Ferrier's life of selflessness he carried out, from Kanakuk camps to Korea to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, can be summed up in one simple phrase: God first, others second, and I'm third.